for part 2 of What If Ash? Well, no, wrong theory. What if I wrote the Pokemon series? In last time, Ash has caught in a Rattata, evolved it, and he released it, able to come back. It's basically the same story with Ash's Butterfree, but he got hit in a different way. If you want to see the proper story if you haven't seen last part, go check it out. Ash's team is coming with Pikachu, Haunter, Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, and yeah. And he has 5 badges brought to her Koga without Sabrina. His remaining gym badges are Sabrina, the Fire Gym Leader, and Team Rocket Gym. With that, Ash decides to go to Cinnabar Island, and the whole fossil episode plays out as normal. Since it's only Ash at this point who's travelling alone, and he's able to get the Togepi egg, and when the Aerodactyl would appear, Ash's Charmander would evolve in Charizard all in the same fashion, but Ash was actually able to capture the Aerodactyl, as it seems to be pretty new to the world since it got taken out pretty easily. But Ash decides to not think on it and challenge Blaine. Blaine will lead out with his Ninetales, as Ash is deciding to go into Haunter, as Haunter was able to do a lot of damage, even setting up toxic spikes. But Haunter goes down. With that, Ash decides to send in Squirtle to finish it off. I forgot to mention, Charizard is actually obedient in this timeline, since Ash fought for it. As Rhydon comes out, as Rhydon looks to be fainting, as Blaine pulls out its secret move, Thunderbolt, and able to take down Squirtle. With that, Ash decides to send in Aerodactyl, with Aerodactyl being one shot. With that, Ash just lost the gym, as he decides to do some training, and as he decides to evolve his Haunter into Gengar. He did with a random person, and since Ash is still since Ash is still not right in the head in this timeline, Ash still goes through with it. As luckily Ash got a good person to trade with. And the egg hatched. Since it's a baby, her Gengar was able to pull off a lot. Basically, Ash will be sending back Bulbasaur to take care of Togepi. Because a lot of his Pokemon need to do training and taking care of Togepi and teaching each other, as Bulbasaur and Squirtle basically do not have too big roles in helping and all that. Since Squirtle's my favourite Pokemon, I should be keeping Squirtle. As he comes back to the gym, as he sends out Squirtle first, as Ash was able to do a double knockout. Rhydon comes out with Ash not really having a lot of good choices. Ash decides to send in Aerodactyl, as Aerodactyl was able to pull off some big hits, but able to not take it out. Ash sends in Charizard and makes sure that Rhydon goes down before it's able to pull off any rock type moves. As Magmar comes out, as it basically goes down just in cannon. With that, it's still a couple months before the Indigo League, as Ash decides to face his fears and take on Sabrina. As it turns into a single one-on-one gym, as Ash sends in Gengar. As Gengar who was able to have a good battle with Alakazam. With that, Ash only needs to have one gym left, but it isn't open yet. Ash decides he's to keep Togepi in his bag here and not really use it and take care of it. So Ash has another slot open as he brings back Bulbasaur. With that, he has his current 6 team. Ash decides he's to go break into the gym, and that's where Giovanni lies. I hope he made that sentence sound good. As basically Ash gets swept, not even taking out one of his Pokemon. But since Giovanni isn't really accepting challenges, he says, Ash, come back here. If you beat me on a one-on-one, I'll give away all the gym badges since he has Mewtwo, all of that. As Ash decides to go for Pikachu, this is his Mewtwo, and since the power of plot and main character armor, Ash was able to win. With that, Ash has all his badges as he decides to go back for Raticate, Brock, Misty, and his Butterfree as they all do some training for the Indigo League. The Indigo League will go in canon with his first opponent being swept by all 3 starters. Same story in his second, and then when it comes down to Gale, who Pterodactyl was actually able to pull off the win. Its first ever win. As I'm pretty sure it's Richie. Since there's no Team Rocket, Ash was able to actually have a better battle with Richie, and she sends out Charmander. I forgot his nickname. With that, Ash decides to send in Charizard, and then it dominates Sorry guys for all the pausing. I just don't really feel too confident in this. With Richie sending out her Zippo, as Zippo was able to actually knock out Charizard in fashion, and as Ash was sent out Raticate, Ash does some swapping around with his team, but isn't staying around. As he swaps around Raticate with his team, as Raticate was able to take it out. Finally, it's Butterfree, as Butterfree gets taken out with a Fire Fang. With that, Ash actually made it further, and we don't know too much about the next trainer. So basically, how about this? Ash beats the trainer, but falls in the finals. Without the Orange Islands will play out differently. Ash will still get the GS ball, and everything will go down in canon. Because but there actually no Tracy, will just be Brock and Misty and Ash. With when the Cypher episode comes, it's actually a Scizor. With Ash never seeing it, Ash decides to catch it and send him back his Pterodactyl. As when it comes to that building race, that racing one with ice, Ash was able actually to win it with Charizard. Actually obeying him. The Orange League comes as Scizor was able actually to take down Dragonite. But get taken out by his Electabuzz, since Ash seemed to be a big threat for him as he decides to mow around a lot of his team with his Dragonite. But Ash was able to actually win. Now, we basically covered the Orange Islands. And I'm gonna leave it here for Johto. We're gonna leave it for Johto as I have a custom thumbnail for Johto as I think you guys will like it. See ya.